Hello everyone. This is a tutorial on how to create a character in Rolemaster 2nd edition. I'm just going to kind of briefly walk through some of the steps that you need to do. Um, I'm also going to share this character sheet that you can download. It's really handy. One might almost say necessary. Rolemaster is a complicated system with a lot of skills. This sheet makes things a lot easier. I didn't create it. I don't exactly know who did. I think there's a title on the front, but it's an amazing piece of work. I think it was created many, many years ago. Thank God whoever created this. It's really handy. But let me dive right in. So here are the stats in Rolemaster. They're pretty self-explanatory. Strength, quickness, presence is kind of like would be your charisma in D&D or another system. Your force of will per se. Intuition is kind of like the clerical magic or your intuitiveness, your ability to intuitively commune with your god or guess things. Empathy is your ability to relate. It could be with others, to have empathy with others, but it could be to relate to like mechanical devices, and it's kind of like your sense of being able to understand mechanics or those kinds of things. It's also a spell stat, so it's used for the realm of essence, would be what a standard magician uses. Constitution is your health, would be your health in another system. Agility is pretty self-explanatory. Self-discipline is kind of your ability to you know, not do impulsive behavior, be patient. It's great for hiding, that kind of thing. Memory, self-explanatory, and reasoning is your intelligence. So step one in creating a Rolemaster character is that you have to create or roll 10 D100 stats. Um, these are your temporary stats. Now you can assign them as you want. Also, another thing is that the stats have to add up to at least 500. If they don't, you just re-roll until you get stats that are at least add up to 500 so you don't have a really pitiful character. Also, there's another option in that you can throw out your two lowest stats if you're willing to replace them with 90s, and those 90s have to go in your prime requisites, which means that if you had a really high stat and you wanted that to go in your prime requisite, well, then you wouldn't be able to throw out one of your lowest stats. So it's kind of a trade-off, and it's a way to help your character be at least, somewhat survivable at low level. And at low level, your characters are very whippy. But anyway, the next step that you have to understand is that there are potential stats. So your normal stats can go up eventually as you gain levels and stuff. They can also go down, but they're more likely to go up than go down. And your potential is the highest your stat can be. And the way you figure out your potentials is once you've rolled your stats, you make another set of 10 rolls, and then you can look up in character law on this table. It's called the stat potentials table. You can look up what that would be. So you can, let me actually share a different part of my screen. So here we are for the stat potentials table. And what this does is you can look up your stat. So your stat would be up there. And then you would cross-index that with the roll. And that would tell you what your potential is. So that's how you figure out potentials. And this is in the Character Law, Campaign Law book by Iron Crown Enterprises. And the three books that you really need for rolling up characters are Character Law, Companion 1, and Companion 2. More, those are like, especially Companion 2, those are like invaluable books. You definitely need them. The next thing, let me go back and share the character sheet again. So the next important thing that you have to look at is the stat bonuses are calculated for you. So these are the stat bonuses over here, and that'll be determined by your temporary stat. So the temporary bonus, or the bonus for temporary stat of 90 is 10. And then the next step is that you have to actually assign your stats. So depending upon what type of class you are, you want to pick your class at this point, and it will determine where you want to put these stats. If you have fighter, this happens to be a barbarian, so he wants good physical stats: strength, quickness, agility, constitution, self-discipline. All those are important stats, and the others aren't as important. One thing to note too is that the bottom 5 stats, so constitution, agility, self-discipline, memory, and reasoning, go into your development points. So if you put really terrible stats there, you're going to have really terrible development points. And this is when you go up a level, you take these development points and you spend them on skills. So let's talk about before I get into the skill thing, and I will dive deeply into that, but let's go and talk about background roles. So I'm going to go ahead and share Rolemaster Companion 1, so you can look at that. One moment here. So here is the background tables in Companion 1. These are my favorite. There are other backgrounds. You can take an item roll, a money roll. There are other different types of rolls. My favorites, though, the ones that I always take on, are either skill at arms or skill at magic. Now, there are bad rolls. You can actually have bad things. If you roll a 10 or lower out of a D100, you'll get a bad result. But pretty much these results are epic and turn your character into an epic character. So I always tend to roll on here. A normal human will get 5 background rolls. And then other classes which may have special abilities or stat bonuses, like, elves and dwarves can see in the dark. So they're not going to get as many background rolls as maybe a human would. And a human gets 5. That's pretty much the max. I've never heard of a character getting more than 5. Or a race getting more than 5. But these backgrounds are awesome. They can do things like this plus 15 to agility. Now, that doesn't mean plus 15 to the stat. It means plus 15 to the stat bonus. So let me go back and share my character sheet again. So that means plus 15 over here to the agility bonus. That would be here. And that is a huge difference, because if you only have, let's say you have a 90, that's plus 10 bonus. But if you get that background, let's say plus 15 to con, you would add that. So instead of having a 10 total bonus, you'd have a 25. So you can see it's an enormous boost. And that's why those background rolls can make your character, a superhero, really. Although at first level, let me tell you, you're going to be an extreme wimp. I think more than any other system, first level Rolemaster characters are super wimpy. You got to consider yourself like, 17 years old, barely an adult, that kind of thing, when you first start out. Okay, so now let's talk about what you do with development points. So with development points, these two things, there are 2 types of skills. There are primary skills and secondary skills. So if I go over to the skill page here, primary skills are in bold. These are like the most important skills. And then secondary skills are not in bold. So what you would do is, for creating a first level character, you get to spend 2 levels of development. One is called zeroth level, or your adolescent level, and your second one is called first level. So you're developing actually for first level. So um, let me zoom out a little. Here is what I spent for this character for 0th level. And this column over here is the primary that I bought. And this is the secondary. And then I spent again. Here's the first level. And then here's my spendings for the secondary skills for first level. So you spend 1 level at a time. Let me describe that. So there are skills over here, and the cost of the skill changes depending upon what class you are. So like a barbarian, it costs 4 to get accounting. Barbarians are never going to be great at accounting. That's a lot. It's expensive, and they can only buy 1 rank a level. When you see something like this, 3/9, that means you can buy 2 ranks a level. The first rank that you buy is going to cost you 3 development points, and the second rank is going to cost you an additional 9 for a total of 12 development points if you wanted to buy 2 ranks in alchemy. So clearly, barbarians are not going to be good at alchemy. Let's talk about something and that's a secondary skill because it's not in bold. Let's talk about something a barbarian would be good at. So let's talk about body development over here. Body development is your hits. Every time you buy one of these, you get a dice to roll, and that D10 will help you increase your hits. Now, you may also get a level bonus. So if you're like a barbarian, clearly gets 2 bonus to their die. So when they roll a die, instead of rolling a d10, they'd roll a d10 plus 2. So this barbarian bought 4 ranks, and so they get 4 dice, 4d10 to roll, plus 2, 4, 6, 8. So because it's 2 per die, and they bought 4 die. So I hope that makes sense. And it would cost for getting 2 dice each level. Now they can only buy 2 in 1 level. So when I spent for 0th level up here, I bought him 2 ranks of body development, and that cost me 4 development points. 1 for the first rank and 3 for the second rank. So it's usually more expensive. Now there are some skills, like let's talk about maneuver in soft leather, where when you see 2/*, it means that you can buy as many ranks as you want in a level, and each rank is only going to cost you 2. So if he wanted to, he could theoretically buy 10 ranks in soft leather, and that would cost him 20 development points. So I hope that makes sense. Now, barbarians, you'll notice I didn't buy any armor because they get this skill called adrenal defense, which is, well, anybody could buy it, but it's usually not worth it for most people because it's very expensive. But for a barbarian, 6, it sounds like a lot, but it's not. So 6 means that they can buy 1 a level, and every time they buy it, it costs them 6 development points. But for adrenal defense, every time you buy a rank, you get +5 to your defensive bonus. And trust me when I say that that is enormous. It's an amazing thing. If you can get a high defensive bonus, you're going to live a lot longer. Although you can't wear armor with adrenal defense. But anyway, I don't want to get off track of buying skills. So some skills give you level bonuses because your class will get level bonuses distributed amongst the categories. And so a barbarian gets, for combat, they get +3 per level. That's what this level column is over here. That's your level bonus. So every time they go up a level, this is going to increase. So at second level, they'll be +6. At third level, they'll be +9. Whereas here, they only get 2 per level. So at second level, they'll be +4. At third level, they'll be +6. So for athletics. But you want to tend to try to buy in the categories that your class is good at. So, and you also, when you're low level, want to try to buy the cheaper skills, just so you can spread yourself out there and cover a lot of ground. And as you become more survivable, you can start to specialize a little bit. But again, there are two pools of points. There are primary points and there are secondary points. The secondary points are usually 40% of your primaries. So everything in bold, like I said, is a primary development point, has to come from the primary development point pool. Perception, that's your ability to notice things. You definitely want to buy a rank in that every level at least. Your weapons. Now, we've come up with a home rule that said that you don't have to buy an individual weapon, you buy a category of weapons. But in true Rolemaster, you actually have to develop an individual weapon like saber or whatever. And so here the cost is 1.5. That would mean if he wants to buy 2 ranks a level, and if you're a warrior type, you definitely want to buy 2 ranks a level. So that would cost you 6 development points there. And I've spent twice, so that's why this guy bought 2 ranks for 0th level and 2 ranks for 1st level, so he has 4 ranks. And then he has his rank bonus is 5 per rank. So, but this will change at 50. Then it goes down to 3, and then 2, and then 1, and then 1/2. At 50, 70, 90. I'm not sure where after that, but in the beginning, it's 5 points per rank. So that's why this person has 20. Then they have a stat bonus. So one-handed edge would be strength, agility. So you take their strength bonus, you add it, and then you add their agility bonus, and then divide by 3. So if I go to the main sheet, you can see their strength bonus is 30. So 30 plus 30 plus agility plus 23, and that would be, so equals 30 plus 30 plus 23 would equal 83, and then we divide that by 3, so their stat bonus is 28. I hope that makes sense. And then what you would do is you would look at, you would add all this, and then you add their level bonus, and then you come up with a number, and that is your actual skill. And I'm not going to go into like how to use the skills yet. I'll do that in a different section or in a different video. This is just meant to be a short video on the basics of how to create a Rolemaster character. You also need to roll for your appearance. That's usually just a straight up roll. I roll this. I tend to roll ugly characters. I don't know why. It just happens. But the poor fool has a 19, so he's not the best looking character. That's out of 100. What else? Most of the sheet calculates everything. So like once you put in your base hits, then it'll add in your con bonus and calculate that for you. So this character has an incredible 46 hits at 1st level. It's pretty rare. This character is really powerful. Let's see what else. Starting languages. This is a DM/GM thing. So as a DM, you'll decide how many languages you want your people, how literate is your society, how much, do you want them to be able to communicate. I don't like the whole common tongue thing. This is a character set in Hyboria, the world of Robert E. Howard and Conan. So I give people that they're going to speak a smattering of the countries that surround them, languages. So I usually let them start out with that. And you can develop languages in this game as well. So if you go into skills, you want to start speaking more languages, you can go into linguistics and you can just buy some. So this character bought one rank in a language, and every level, if they want, they can spend 3 development points and actually start speaking other languages. Now, of course, bards can learn languages like nobody's business super fast, but and they have spells that actually help them learn. But I hope you get a sense of this is how you create your character, and this to me is what makes there are 3 things that I think make Rolemaster special for me. I love skills. I think a skill really creates your character and makes your character different. So I love skills. Um, the other thing about Rolemaster that I like are uh, the critical charts. The critical charts make Rolemaster deadly, and I run a gritty world, so I love that. I love that fights are really dangerous and nothing's predictable, and there's no formula going on. I mean, you can get your limbs chopped off. You can, um, you know, have horrendous wounds, broken bones. It's a dangerous system, and that to me makes it fun. Also, the spells are really cool. I just love the system. I've played them all. I played many, many systems, and Rolemaster is my favorite. Definitely has its flaws, but I love it. So the third thing about Rolemaster is it's very much a tax sim game. If you are theater of the mind type of guy, I don't think Rolemaster is the right system for you. But if you like a heavy tax sim system, Rolemaster definitely got it going. Um, yeah, so that's it. That's the basics. Again, I'll post a link to this sheet. I'll try to find a generic one and post a link to it so you guys can use it. I urge you all, if you're a tax sim type player, if you're a detail oriented type player, to give Rolemaster a try. I've been playing it since about 1986, and I just, I love it. It's such a good, it has its flaws, like I said, but it's such a great system. And anyway, let me know in the comments or feedback if this was useful for you, or if there are questions maybe beyond what I posted here that I could answer. And again, I'm going to follow up with more videos on Rolemaster and how to play it. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you're having a good evening, and Happy New Year. It's almost New Year. It'll be New Year's here in 3 hours. So take it easy, and I'll see you in 2018.